actually they found a female body where they thought it went down when he jumped.
Yeah.
But they were scouting for him. They found a female that she was kidnapped and killed in the woods.
Whoa, really? A separate incident?
Yeah. A separate incident, so looking for him, they found a female, yeah.
Okay, wow, that's interesting.
So what do you think happened? Who do you think he is? Yeah, that's D.B. Cooper.
Well, a who isn't a thing because, you'd have to get his name, his face, his serial number, his social security. But
yeah,
I do think my first thought about any of this is that the money that they found was deliberately left, or I don't get the feeling he couldn't find it. I get the feeling he left it on purpose, maybe as a, what do you call it, a red herring.
Rid of his trail.
Yeah. As a red herring, because that left the question of, did he die? Do you know? Which maybe wouldn't have been a question otherwise. Because if the money was all gone, then there's no question that he clearly survived.
No, but none of the pilots saw him jump.
Yeah, but he had to have jumped, right? There's no choice. No choice.
Could pinpoint his location where he could have landed, or nothing like that. And the five airplanes either with Air National Guard.
So in the 70s, well, see, you've got a few things there, because by the time they're even mobilised to go look for him, he's already on the ground. He's planned it already. He's got a car there. He knows what he's doing, don't you think?
So, I think so.
So that being the case, all he's got to do is pick up his stuff and go. And they wouldn't have even been near the place by the time he's done and gone. If he's smart, which he sounds like he's very smart, he'll already know how they're going to deal with it. He'll have already planned for that. So I think that he was alive. I don't think he's alive now, but I do think he was alive, and I think he probably got to wander off with his $20 bills.
He's smart. He actually looked for $20 because, you know what I mean? That's easy to catch. If you go with 100, you're very suspicious, right?
Yep.
Then you're going to say, oh, where are you getting those? How many times can you go to a store with $100 bill?
Exactly. And he wouldn't necessarily have had,
right?
because they didn't know his name, they wouldn't necessarily have to know, he wouldn't necessarily be restricted from leaving the country either.
No, because nobody knew who he was, right?
Exactly.
So he could have gone anywhere. He was heading for Mexico, but they couldn't make it because he had to fuel. So he goes into airport and refuels for another flight.
Yeah.
And then he takes off again.
Right.
So,
this is him telling the plane to take off again.
Yeah. And he takes 5 people on it and then leaves everybody else. The pilot tells the crew that all the passengers that we have a mechanical issue, so you guys have to get off the plane. But he has a bomb, so they let 4 or 5. He only wanted 4 or 5 people, so he actually takes 4 parachutes. That's his demand was 4 parachutes, 200,000, and fuel. That's all he demanded, and the bourbon.
And the bourbon. You got to have a drink to keep warm.
You got to have something to watch.
He actually took one at first, and he was calm, and he was really how people get jittery and crazy. What are they going to do next? He done it time and time again, telling them how high to fly. All that.
No, very, very clever man. And because he jumped with his money, I don't doubt, they were all parachuted bags, right? So I don't doubt that they would have all landed within a particular space because he would have known how much they weighed. He's clearly calculated all of that. Has it occurred to anybody that they were all in on it?
No, never thought of that. But what exactly? That's interesting.
Now we're talking. Because
Georgia, I like how you think all the time.
And so there's
seriously, why are there 4 parachutes?
Because that's what he got the money out with.
Yeah.
He parachuted. He couldn't carry it down and parachute out, so he had to parachute the money. And if he sent the money without the parachutes, he would never be able to find it because it would just land wherever you started. It would be miles apart. So by parachuting with it, he would be able to keep a certain amount of an eye on it, but he'd have a good idea just by his...
So he parachuted money with one and then him with the other one?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
But there's a question about, they're talking about, you're talking about that they get rid of all these people and there's only 5 left on board. And if it's not all of them, there's a question about some of that information, like when did he actually jump? If they were in on it, he could have jumped and then the air hostess or whatever you want to call her could have lied about when he jumped, or the whole lot of them could have lied about when he jumped. He might have jumped earlier
because
than
they said none of us seen them, none of us seen us. So he basically sat on that 18C seat and they told her, and from there he directed the plane. He didn't go in cockpit to be manhandled or taken over by the crew or anything. So he actually directed them from there. It's kind of convenient, right? Almost like you're the boss of the plane. Do this.
Yeah. And then there's the question of if he was in the back area, if he wasn't
Don't
in.
they have air marshals? They should have air marshals on planes, right? So we can take more than one. So
not in the 70s, I don't think.
No?
Not back then. I think back then probably not. And it would have been a domestic flight too, wouldn't it, really? If it's...
Yeah, it was within the United States.
So I think that would have been different in the 70s. It's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? It's a long time ago.
We are ancient.
We are. Let me put a "we" word in there. You 10 years younger than me person. We are ancient. Yeah. So I love it when people that are younger than me. I love it when people younger than me say the word "we" and "old" and "ancient" all at the same time, and I'm like calculating, and I've got 10 years on you. It becomes a real insult at that point. I think that he's...
it feels like it.
What about you, Tammy? What do you think happened with D.B. Cooper?
Oh, it reminds me of that movie with what's his name? Oh,
they made a movie.
Yeah, what's his name? The one with Leonardo DiCaprio, the one he did the airplane thing.
Oh, Catch Me If You Can. Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, Catch Me If You Can. That's what it reminds me of.
So isn't that movie based on this one?
No,
Sounds like it.
No, quite different actually, because what he was doing was he was impersonating pilots and running scams.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was impersonating pilots and but he didn't rob the plane and stuff like that. He didn't do the blackmail thing or all of that. He didn't run a hostage situation or hijack a plane. No. What he did was he was pulling
a fast one.
Yeah, he was a con man, and he was impersonating pilots because pilots were highly considered, if you like, at the day, and so he could write checks without any money in the bank just because he was a pilot. So he got away, and he was being chased by a specific FBI agent. I think that's correct, but no, that was definitely not the story. He didn't do any parachuting. None of that went on.
Kind of like the style.
Yeah, well,
he was kind of reminds me. He's trying to do the finessing thing. You're sitting there ordering cheeseburgers and fries. You got a pair of cahoonies there, buddy. You know?
Well, you've got that, but that's the whole point of the story, right? Is the fact that he's in control of it from start to finish, and that's where my question comes in. Could he possibly have had that much control from behind, especially once they all went off? The only person with him is the stewardess, right? Is that right or wrong?
I think he took this name from a comic book.
I'm just talking about when he was in the plane. He's got no real knowledge of exactly how high they're flying, or even if they're flying.
Yeah, he knew everything, so I think he's a former FBI agent.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm putting a question here. If you're in the back of a plane and it's nighttime and it's flying, these guys could go 2 or 3 degrees, 10 degrees off course very slowly over half an hour or 20 minutes. You'd never know.
Mm-hmm.
You would never know.
Right.
And they could go up a little bit. It's only if they do it quickly or steeply that he'd know. So they could go up, a few feet here, and end up, significantly changing things. You just look at, that story I had about the Bermuda Triangle. We've got all these guys getting miles off because at the point where you change your direction, just a degree or two off here ends up being, 100 miles off. And, bearing in mind how fast planes fly, in 10, 15 minutes you can already be 50 miles to 100 miles off course. So that's why I think maybe somebody else was in on it.
Yeah, I think it makes sense when you're actually bringing that up, because how come they couldn't find him? They didn't know where he jumped, nothing. They didn't give FBI or anybody or the authorities any information that pilot said we didn't know where he jumped, where he was, or nothing. Well, we didn't see him come out.
And so that's it. How did none of them? Yeah, he did evaporate. D.B. Cooper. D.B. Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. that, you know, it's an interesting thing too, because, you know, they say when people create fake names that they usually find something that's got some level of their own name in it, whether it's an initial or first letter or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, that's kind of a normal thing because people aren't very clever. So he's gone and got a character, did you say, out of a cartoon?
Yeah,
out of a
he actually took his name, took his alias from a Belgian comic book series of 1970s featuring the fictional hero Don Cooper, a Royal Canadian Air Force test pilot who took part in numerous heroic adventures, including parachuting.
Yeah, so he's really researched every part of that. I just am challenged by the idea that even a pilot, even a well-versed pilot, would know exactly whether they're on course or not in the dark without instruments in front of him. If he's in the back of the plane, he's got no way of seeing what they're doing.
Exactly.
So
so this guy, this former Royal Canadian Air Force guy used to actually skydive in full paratrooper.
So it was the cartoon, but the cartoon wasn't based on a real character, right?
It was
the comic.
I think it is because the comic book, Don Cooper. So he actually gave them that name. So could it be this guy actually, the Don Cooper, the Royal Canadian Air Force guy, testing pilot? That actually, you can probably write about that.
Well,
so it could be the testing pilot, and he knows everybody else. So they're all in it. No one can find him.
Well, he's clearly a pilot. You know, there's no doubts about that. And he's clearly able to parachute and organise things. He could have had military training.
Skydive, all kinds of things.
Yeah,
he does. He has everything. Because why would he be so calm and order drinks and just like, okay, let's do this. How many times I've done it before? Go this high, go this low.
Yeah.
Okay, tell the girl.
And so you could sit at the back and say, go this high, and they could easily elevate that by, 1,000 feet or maybe less, but whatever. And you wouldn't know because they're already doing what you told them, which is go up or go down and go left or go right. There's something that doesn't add up in that. Somebody in the back's giving you these instructions and you're following them to the letter, even though they can't tell if you're following them to the letter or not, So they could have gone a little bit differently with that. So I've got some kind of, don't know, this sounds like this involvement.
It sounds like there's more than one.
Yeah. 200,000, as you said, over 1 million now between 4 or 5 people. Even if one pilot and him were in on it together, right? Even if one pilot was...
That is a feel-good
Yeah.
That's half.
Yeah. The fact that they didn't find him once he jumped out of the plane, I think that was deliberate because... I think that he would know when he was jumping, where he was jumping, and he would have had to have done that based on the fact that he trusted that that plane was going exactly where he told it to go. 100%.
Yes, everything.
Yeah, 100%. Otherwise, he could have landed somewhere and never found anything. So he had to have a car parked as well, so there might have been another person involved on the ground. They could have been... any amount of things going on there. The assumption, I think, that he did it all by himself would probably be why they couldn't find him, because they weren't looking for a team, maybe. That's our show, guys. We've done...
That was awesome.
Thank you for that. That was marvellous. Thank you, everybody, for coming along.
I've been trying to bring this for a while. Like, I keep skipping it for...
We keep running out of time. So, Drita's going to see us out on the show today, and we'll catch you all next time.
So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for being here.
So next week our topic is witch trails.
Trials, love.
Trials. Trails too.
Which trials,
Join our radio show live in our Psychic Co-op group on Facebook to ask a question or get a reading. You can catch us in iTunes or Spotify during the week. And have a good night. And thanks for making me laugh.
Good night, everybody.